Right, guys, welcome to episode 5 of the My Games podcast. I'm not going to lie, I've been absolutely buzzing to get this guy on to the stage for the first time. I've showed up on time, I've done notes, I've researched him all week. So, ladies and gentlemen, professional rugby league player, Ant Walker. Thank you for coming on, mate.
No worries, mate.
Really appreciate the time. So, who's you play for at the minute? Widnes now, innit?
Widnes now, mate, yeah.
How's that going?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. A couple of reasons though, really, mate. Love it because I don't have to travel.
Yeah.
Last couple of years I was at Bradford, and before that I was at Wakefield. Up and down the M62 all day.
So was you up and down from like...
From Aidoc or St Helens, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Luckily there was a few of us, but now I'm at Widnes, and like I just said to you then off air, we was at that side of St Helens. He literally takes me 7 minutes to go to training.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love it. And then my little lad doesn't miss a game either.
Yeah.
So he comes to all the home games and stuff like that.
It's boss that, isn't he?
Yeah.
It is really good, that, to be fair. One question I did ask, I was thinking of, to be fair, was growing up, was it always rugby?
No, mate, no. National swimmer. You won't believe it, look at size to me, mate. But I was
Don't judge a book.
I was a national swimmer, mate. So I played rugby as well.
Yeah.
I swam and played rugby.
Yeah.
Based in Warrington, and I was shit at swimming.
Yeah.
And when I got to about 11 or 12, swimming said you need to quit rugby. So I did, because I was in the England programme. And they was looking for 2012 Olympics. You know, you have goals where you need to get.
Yeah.
And I was that good.
Fucking hell.
But
he's had the choice of fucking going into the Olympics or being pro, mate. Fucking hell, do you know what I mean?
But you tell a 13, 14, 12, 13, 14-year-old kid not to go do something. What do you want to fucking do?
Yeah, you want to go and do it.
You want to go play rugby, don't you?
Yeah,
so, I was swimming, but in back of my mind I was going, I hate this.
Yeah.
I hate this. And then when I got to year 10, year 11, I made the decision to quit and go back to rugby. But mum and dad not forced me, but their social life was my swimming.
Right.
Because you'd go after school, you'd get in the car, you'd probably go Sheffield for the weekend.
Yeah.
So their friendship group was who I swam with, so the parents. So they pushed me to swim a little bit.
Yeah.
So when I was finishing swimming, it was probably a big decision for them as well to not allow me, but accept it.
So it affects their life as well, doesn't it? Because it's their
they
whole
didn't know anything
social
else.
circle.
Yeah, you go to Spain on a swim camp for 10 days. It's family holiday.
Yeah, yeah.
So they were loving it, but then I just decided it's not for me. I want to play rugby, and as you can see, I'm not built for swimming.
Yeah. I don't know, you sounded all right, you're nearly going to the Olympics.
So tell me, get in a swim pool now, I'll tell you where to go.
Really?
Yeah,
Not swam since?
Only at rugby.
Little bits?
Only at rugby when we had to.
Like rehab and stuff like that?
Yeah, I absolutely despise it.
Yeah.
So me being a parent now, if my kids don't want to go football training or rugby training, I won't take them.
Yeah.
Because I felt this is nothing against them, Dad. I felt they wanted me to swim more than I wanted to swim.
Right.
So when I'm being a parent now, I let my kids lead it. If they don't want to go anywhere, they don't go.
Yeah. To be fair, I get where you're coming from, because when I was growing up as well, mate, I was very forced into playing football loads, and if I ever wanted to try anything else, it was just no, just fucking stick to playing football. And like you say, because I've not got kids yet, but I do sit there, and when I spoke to my missus, I'm just they're just going to do what they want to do, because you don't want to push them in, you said, because you end up resenting it, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to do
it
really.
Like I said, look, someone says, my ex-wife says, we'll take the kids swimming. I'm like, fucking no chance. You can take the kids swimming. Do you know what I mean? I hate it.
Yeah, no, I get you. So, obviously, you started playing then, what you say, year 10, 11, went back to rugby?
Yeah, I went back.
So you was about 15, 16?
Yeah.
So, what was the crack then? Because you started out at Saints, didn't you?
Yeah.
I read up.
So I went playing. I'm a bit of a gypsy in rugby league terms. I lived in Newton, went to school in Warrington. But then my lads from school played rugby in Goulburn and said, come down to Goulburn, which from Newton's only 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's just down the Lancs, isn't it?
So I said, yeah, I'll go there. And then I got picked up, because when I was a kid, rugby was a bit different. So you played town team. So I went to school in Warrington, so they said, right, you can play for Warrington town team.
Right.
Goulburn's classed as Wigan and Lee.
So that fell under Wigan and Lee.
But then someone at Saints, I think it was Derek Trainer at Saints, he said, no, you live in Newton, which is St Helens, so you have to play for St Helens.
How mad is that?
So I ended up going to St Helens town team trials, and I got picked up from there, and then I moved to Blackbrook. Yeah. Did a year at Blackbrook, and then signed at Saints at 16 properly.
And when did you turn pro?
So you sign your first professional contract at 16, but that's an academy, so you're still at college and you're only part-time. Yeah. And then at 18, they make a decision. Some lads go first team, go full time.
Yeah.
Some lads play for the reserves and carry on uni apprenticeships or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was that one of them. I didn't go. I had a reserve contract, which I was pissed off with because I wanted a first team contract, you know.
Yeah.
I got a reserve contract, and then...
is it like called on scholarship that or something?
Yeah, scholarships is a bit younger.
There's a couple of lads who like was on Saints books when I was in school, and they was used to like, going about first team and scholarship, I think.
So it was like first team, academy, scholarships, things like that. So I was kept in the academy, but then went to uni. But Saints were really good. They said, listen, we'll get you a sports scholarship at uni.
Yeah.
So I went to John Moores, and then after 1 year at uni, I ended up going full time at Saints.
Yeah.
But then Saints said, oh no, you still finish your uni, but so like go like a bit of a hybrid. So
Right.
when you're at uni, go uni. And when you're at Saints, like when you're in uni, be first team with us. And then it just took off from there, really. So I'd say 19, I probably signed my first like full-time deal at Saints.
Did you?
Yeah.
So like that was it then. Like, do you know like when you was in between there, when like you were saying like you were a bit of a hybrid and like you go in, you're playing rugby and you kind of like in uni. Was you still set on rugby? Was you set on rugby then? Or was you kind of like?
Do you know what? Like I probably didn't believe in myself enough. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a rugby player. But realistically, I probably thought I probably should have sat back and gone, I need to set something up.
Yeah.
Because I used to toss both of them off. I was a bit of a tool. I used this scholarship through uni as a bit of an excuse because I enjoy playing golf. So I'd tell Saints I was at uni and uni was at Saints, and I really was on the golf course.
Right.
So I took the piss a little bit with it, really.
Yeah.
And then Saints changed coaches. And then he just took a shine to me, and I kind of made a decision then go, well, if he took a shine to me, I'm doing all right. I was still playing for the reserves, but there was lads who were full-time, who were like older than me, who was on the bench for the reserves, and I was starting.
Right.
So that's when I kind of knew, you know, I probably...
A bit of a confidence boost, hadn't it, to be fair?
And then 2013, I made my debut, I was 21.
Did you?
Yeah, 2013, so...
Mate, what's that like? Because obviously, there's not 1% of people will ever fucking like be professional. What's that like? Like, what is it like going on the pitch for the first time?
Do you know what?
You hear it in interviews, but like you're here in front of me. Like, what is it like? That feeling?
I'll be honest with you, it's not as big as you realise until you retire.
Right.
So like, it's just a progression. It's like you going to work and getting an influx of clients, for example. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just your job.
Yeah.
So when I made my debut, it was the next step for me. So I'm not going to turn around and say it was the best thing in the world, because for me it was just that's what I expected to do.
Like a natural flow.
I'm going to work. That's the way I look at rugby. I'm going to work.
It's interesting that.
So I don't get nervous, because do you get nervous training a client?
Suppose I don't know.
So I've
same thing.
Yeah.
Really.
So I've done this sport for most of my life. I don't get nervous.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, you know.
Yeah.
But so it was just the next step. But then when I did finish playing,
and
I look back at it, and then I realised how big it was. It meant a lot more to me when I was 25, 26 when I weren't playing to what it was when I was 21 making my debut.
Like looking back at like the moment of when you turned professional.
Yeah, that's because I look at it from like how big it was for my friends, my family. You know, you've trained, seeing your name on the back of a shirt.
Yeah.
You know, as a kid when you go to the sports director to buy a shirt and you put your name on the back of the shirt. That when you look at that, you go, people have got, I was at Saints. Don't get me wrong, I was never a world beater, but you see someone in the crowd who walk on the back of the shirt, you go, fucking hell, like
that's me, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that when you look at it that sense, when you come out of that bubble and look back into it, it's probably massive. But when I was in the bubble, it was just the norm.
It's just, do you know what, mate? It's quite similar because when people say stuff like that to me, like when I started this a couple of months ago and everyone was just like raving about it, to me it was just like, it's just a fucking podcast and I'm just doing it. But suppose in like a couple of years and I look back, I'll go, that was a fucking big thing. But because you're in the moment, like you say, you don't really think about it too much, do you? Because like you say, it's just so interesting that they'll just go into work because, like, I suppose it is, isn't it? But to us, you have never done it.
Some people are different. Some people are different, but that's the way I am. I don't... people call me negative or stuff like that, but I'm not. I'm just a realist. Like, I've trained all my life to do this. It's just the progression. No,
the way you said it, mate, it's spot on, to be fair. Because I suppose, like you've said, if you practice all your life to do what you're doing, it's just doing what you're doing again, isn't it? But just like the natural flow of it. So from Saints, you went on to a few clubs, didn't you? Yeah.
So from Saints, I signed at Wakefield.
Yeah.
But the way the system worked, they got rid of the reserves. So then you went on like a loan system. So I was
Right.
like, went to like Whitehaven for a couple of weeks, then Rochdale for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And you flutter between the few, and then you go back to St Helens. Like 1 week I played for St Helens, the week later I played for Whitehaven, and then I played for Rochdale, and then back to Whitehaven against Rochdale.
Right.
So you did that for a bit, but then I got a really bad injury. I was we were playing Saints in 2014. They was in the playoffs, and I remember Alex Walmsley getting sent off for an eye tackle or something like that, and I got told by Nathan Brown, I'm playing next week. So he said to me, so next week would have been the semi-final of the playoffs. He went, go and do 40 minutes with Rochdale to get match fit, and then you'll be back in next week. And then like 35 minutes in, I snapped my ACL.
Oh, fuck me, mate.
And that was my last time at Saints then.
Yeah.
They ended up winning the grand final. Great, I was buzzing for the team. Felt a bit because I didn't play in it. Don't feel like I contributed in it or anything whatsoever, you know. But that happened, and then Kieran Cunningham took over, and I'm out for a 6-month injury, and you know, it's a short career. You just get down the pecking order, and then by the time I come back fit, there was 6-7 lads in my position, younger than me, probably on less money than me at the time, playing. So it's like it's a business, and then it turns out, and then my agent at the time said, I can get you to Wakefield, do you want to go? And I was in contract, and it's really hard being full-time in rugby because the money's like, it's a full-time job. It's not like, unless you're a superstar, it's not like massive money.
Yeah.
So,
well, Kieran Cunningham still has an electrician business or something, doesn't he,
every
now?
rugby league player, unless they've been really wise with the money, still works when they retire.
Yeah.
So I was that, and I was on decent money, but not massive money. But there was lads probably on half my money playing. Yeah. And it is a business at the end of the day. So I'm in contract year on this much, and someone's playing who's in contract year on this much. They'll give this guy this much, and he'll stay, and I'm on a scrap heap.
Right.
So I had to look after myself and be quite selfish and go, I need to go find myself a team.
Yeah.
And my agent because I was in contract year, I weren't playing. I'd done my knee. I weren't playing. It's like if I don't find a team, I'm getting a job and playing Championship 1, Championship, which I didn't want to do at the time.
Yeah.
So I jumped on Wakefield, who were struggling at the time, and then got another 2 years out of them.
Yeah. Do you know what? One question off the back of what you just said. I grew up with a few lads who were like on the books at like Man City for like football, and then a couple of lads who were on the books at Saints and just didn't materialise. And like you just said, they're like, obviously it's a business and they're always going to put the business first. That feeling of, obviously you didn't get let go because you went to Wakefield, but what is that feeling like? No, it's just kind of like you realise like, shit, I'm fucking going here.
That stress, that is the stress. So I'm coming back from an ACL and it's a 6-month injury. At 4 months, I'm trying to play.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't play.
Yeah.
But I'm in contract year.
You're like pressuring yourself to get back.
Yeah. And you're pressuring the physio, going, tell him I'm right, tell him I'm fit. And the physio's going, the physio's in a bad position because he's like, I understand what you're saying, but I don't want to let you go play and you do your knee game 1. He looks a dickhead. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then he gets a bollocking off the head coach. You know, so it's a really tough thing to be. And that's the only stress I've had in the sport is looking for your next job. Because it comes, you know, you see your contracts run December to November, but pre-season starts October. So by summer, if you've not signed at the club you're at or found yourself another deal, you are scrap heaping for clubs.
Essentially out of work. Like...
And there's literally stories in Rugby League where there's clubs and they've got one position for one position in the squad for this one player, and they've got 4 or 5 lads going for this one position, and they're just undercutting each other. Yeah. Oh, we'll give you 50 grand. Well, actually, he'll take 40, he'll take 30, and then someone will say, oh, I'll take 20. Yeah. Go, right, we'll give it him. Right. Do you know? And that's how dog eat dog it is. Yeah. And it's just being strong enough to. God, if you're good, you're good, and people always take a punt on you, especially coming from St Helens. They've just won the grand final, so I was lucky that
they've always had a good team, haven't they?
But then when I was at Wakefield in the same position, from Wakefield, if you're not playing at Wakefield and they're struggling at the bottom of the league, you're not going to go to a Saints, are you? You're going to go down a league. Yeah. So that's the way it is, and then that's when reality hits, where you go, right, okay, I messed around at uni. Yeah. What actually am I going to do in my life? Yeah, that's what I mean, because it's there's a few lads where they've never really ever, who I know them personally, and like they've never really got over it. Like they probably don't mind me saying that, do you know what I mean? But like we was in primary school and then all the way up to like 18, 19, and then they just get scrapped. And they don't, and that's the problem with rugby though. Then they don't go play rugby. Yeah. Or they fall out of the sport and they get quite bitter and hate certain people who let them go. And, yeah. Do you know? It's just. It's professional sport. You know,
it's just business, isn't it?
Like I'm heavily involved at Blackbrook. at the rugby club, and I coached the open age. When I was retired and I was playing a bit at Wakefield, I coached the open age for a bit, and we had lads at Blackbrook who go to Saints, 18, 19, get let go, and they just won't play the sport again. They don't they go to Fatui because Fatui is really good at open age, you know.
Yeah.
And then that's why the rugby league in general is such a small game. It's big in St Helens, Wigan, Warrington, Leeds, you know, the M62 corridor, but there's just no money in it, no pool in it, and then people do get bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is one of those things where when it is like kind of like your whole identity, and then like you say, you go through those different things, it must be fucking stressful, mustn't it, to be fair?
Yeah.
It
can be.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then obviously going forward there, where was it that you ended up getting your injury?
So 2017, I got.
Was it at Rochdale?
Yeah. So I got paid out from Wakefield.
Yeah.
Wakefield was such a crazy place, like a great set of people there, good people, but just. We used to start at 6 in the morning. I still lived up this end.
Right.
So we start at 6 in the morning, finish at 4.
So you're leaving like well early as
So
well.
we used to meet at Stonecross Macca's.
Did you have kids by then?
Yeah, 2, yeah.
Fucking hell, mate. So it's stressful on the family as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so we used to leave at 4:30 at Macca's on the East Lancs, meet at 4:30, get back about 5:30, and I would go in bed to get up. When you're playing, you can get away with it, but when you're not playing, it's horrible. And that, like you said, that M62 is a nightmare of a motorway at the best of times. So you're sat in traffic going, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? And then the fella come in called John Keir, who's my Widnes coach now, I'm my Wales coach.
Yeah.
He was director of football, and I was quite honest with him because I had a close relationship with him, saying, I'm not happy. I'm not playing. I know it's not anyone's fault. It's just I'm probably not as good as the lads who are playing.
Yeah.
You know, or I'm out of favour, or the coach prefers somebody else. I want to leave.
Yeah.
And they paid me out. And then I had an absolute nightmare of a deal when I got paid out. So I got paid out from Wakefield, and then I knew I had another club lined up.
Right.
And this is how mad rugby league is. So I got paid out 6 months' salary from Wakefield, and I agreed a 6-month contract with a club, but on 10 grand, which is nothing in rugby. You know, it's on 10 grand, but they seen it as 10 grand extra I've earned. So I drove out of Wakefield, met my agent in the car park, went to the other club, and the other club went, we spoke to the owner. You've had a full payout. You've had a full payout off these. We're going to sign you, but we're going to give you 50p a mile travel expenses. We're not going to pay you for your contract.
Oh my God.
So essentially they wanted me to last my 6 months, stretch it over 6 months.
Over 12 months essentially.
Yeah, well, it was 6 months. Yeah, well, 12 months, yeah. But we're going to give you 50p a mile travel expenses.
You get more than that in a normal fucking job, mate.
Fucking hell.
You're playing a professional sport.
So I'll be playing every week for free.
Yeah. That's so weird because obviously, like I was saying before, it's so interesting to hear because we don't know this side of the sport, so it's so good to interesting to hear that side.
So I said no chance, you know, and then I ended up trying to find myself a full-time deal because I didn't want to go part-time. I'd never done it before.
Yeah.
I'd been at clubs on loan and dual registration.
I suppose it's quite similar to like where you were years ago, where you were kind of like in uni and doing rugby again.
I had no job. So I was miffing around with this payout, paying my bills, but living this life, but it wasn't going to last me. I needed to find a team. So I agreed, well, I hadn't agreed at the time. I had a deal set up with my agent in my head for 2018. I needed 6 months, and there's a World Cup in 2017. Yeah. So I was like, I need a game here. So I ended up going to Rochdale because I've been there on dual reg, so I've been there on loan. I enjoyed it, and they trained in Warrington. Right. So I was like, I'll use these to tick over. Days, yeah. They pay me. I think it was about £600 a month plus match money, and it was like sign here, and then I get myself a little job for 6 months. So I was like, right, okay, I'll do this. And then when I did that made me realise I don't want to be part-time at rugby. I need to go full-time. Yeah. So I was on the phone to my agent after every game. Killed it this week. Get me a club. Anyway, I ended up playing for Rochdale and getting knocked out. Yeah. Just clash of heads. Yeah. Nothing about it. Played on because it wasn't as strict as it is now. Played on, and then at half-time in the change rooms, I was sat there and I was sat in this change rooms, and I actually in my head was thinking about playing golf. Yeah. Because I was like, in my head, I was a full-time golfer because I've been paid out from rugby and I wasn't working properly. Yeah. At the time, I was like, I just play golf for a living. Yeah. You know, so I was like, I sat there going, I'm not right.
Can't wait to finish here and go.
No, I couldn't even work out. I was in the rugby changing rooms. I was like...
What, because I had this concussion?
Head. So I just said to the physio and the doctor at the time, I said, listen, I'm not right here. Yeah. I'm thinking of playing golf.
Right.
And the coach was giving me a spray and going, you're soft, man. And I was like, what's he saying here?
Yeah, you can't like shake it
Yeah,
off.
yeah. I was like, so I didn't play. And then in rugby, you have to do these. It's called a head test. So it's on a computer. It's like a deck of cards, and these deck of cards turn over. You have to remember them. If they're red or black. Anyway, you do it at the beginning of every season, and then when you get knocked out, you have to do it again.
Yeah.
And I couldn't pass this test. Oh no, sorry. Before that Sunday night when I got home after the game, we were getting new carpets fitted at home, and we slept downstairs because the new carpets were going upstairs.
Yeah.
And I woke up in the middle of the night and was like tripping. I was like, what the fuck am I doing down here?
Yeah.
I've got to go work. What time's training in the morning?
He was like disorientated.
Yeah, and that was like, you don't play rugby anymore. Like, you know, you do, but like it's part time. And she rang my dad and I had to go to hospital. And I got a scan. They found a bleed on my brain, which sounds worse than it is. A bleed on your brain is just a bruise, you know. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's just a head. Like, in fact, we bang heads now. We both have a bleed in the brain. So I couldn't pass this head test that week to play again. And Wales, it was at the time because it was coming up to the World Cup, sent me to see the specialist in Manchester.
Yeah.
And he did his own version of the test. And he was like, you're not passing it. You can't even pass my test.
Right.
And I've never struggled with these head tests before.
So
in my
what
life.
is it? Is it for like cognitive function
Yes,
and
yeah.
brain health?
So you
and
do a
stuff like
baseline every year. So I don't know how the score is because I've never looked at it.
Right.
You do a test beginning of every year. You get a baseline. And then to play again, you have to beat your baseline.
Right.
So I either smashed my baseline and couldn't beat it, or I was really struggling.
Yeah.
You get a bit lads now like myself who do it slow on purpose the first time, which you
Yeah.
shouldn't do. But I've
Yeah.
learned that the hard way, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was a bit. So I couldn't pass this test, and he said, "Right, I need to scan you." Anyway, he scanned me and pulled me back in the room. This is a week later, and that morning. So this morning say it was a Tuesday, I was driving to see the results from this scan, and my agent went, "Listen, I've got you a deal next year full time again at Widnes."
Oh, happy days, yeah.
And I was like, he's like, the figures haven't been sorted yet, but they're interested. They want you to sign. So get this head sorted. Like, it was only a concussion. No one thought anything of it.
Yeah.
Get this concussion sorted.
Had you had concussions before that?
No.
No.
I've had the odd one of like through playing rugby, but never
like
bad.
contact sport,
Yeah,
it's a
never
contact
bad.
sport.
I've never been one of these, you say glass jaws and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I've never. So I was like, right, he said, pass this test, go and do the World Cup, look after yourself, and we need to sort this deal
And
out.
this was 2017?
Yeah. This
Right.
would have been the end of September, beginning of October 2017. This.
Right.
And anyway, so I got in this, and this was the Tuesday, because the Wednesday, the season had finished. The Wednesday, we went to the World Cup squad. We'd stay over for 2 nights in Wales, and then we flew to Australia on the Saturday or something like that.
Okay.
So I needed this test boxed off.
Done like
And
ASAP,
I
really.
didn't think anything of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was just protocol.
Well, usually it's like a formality, isn't it, for you? You just ticking a box and moving
Yeah.
on because you
Yeah.
passed it so many times.
Yeah. So anyway, he pulled me in this office with this scan and went, good news and bad news is, good news you passed the test. Good news this bleed in your brain's gone. Bad news is I found this.
I'm going to try and pronounce this.
I can't pronounce it, so you can pronounce it, you're better than
Well,
me.
if you
I
can-
just abbreviate it,
If
mate.
you can't fucking... Is it like arteriovenous malformation?
Yeah.
Like AVM.
AVM,
Or something like
yeah.
that. Do you know what, mate? I've wrote it down in my notes. I've been trying to pronounce it for
Mate,
like 2 or 3
you
days.
pronounce it better than me because I just go an AVM, and when people say what it's like, it's a bit like an aneurysm.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's a bit like an
Yeah.
aneurysm. And then,
So what is that? I've read it on like your articles and stuff, but what is it that it does?
so your arteries break off into veins, so I believe, you know.
So like it's not oxygenated blood.
Yeah, so arteries break off, go thinner and go into, like, branch off into veins, the way you drew it for me on this whiteboard when I was really listening.
Yeah.
When you just told me my fucking career's ended. Yeah, I'm listening
Yeah.
to you, mate, yeah. You know, he's drawing it on the board. So he's drawing these arteries and then break off into branches, into veins, and they do like a big circle. And he went, that's like a blood clot.
Yeah.
So he said, so you've got all this pressure going into these veins, but there's they're not hitting the veins, they're hitting this blood clot sort of thing.
Right.
And if you get impact injury on that, if that bursts,
Could rupture. Yeah.
it effectively ruptures. So like, I've gone, what? Like, I've had this since birth, mate. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like, he's told me about it since birth. He said there were only 1 in a quarter of a million people have them.
And is it like one in how many in?
So the way he
so
said
many,
it,
so
yeah.
many rupture though, don't
Yeah,
they, he
so
said?
it's 1 in 250,000 people have them. Out that 1 in 250,000 people, 1 in 50 die a year from it.
Right.
So if you think I was 24, 25 at the time, I'm thinking, well, that's like 1 in 50. So I'm like, not far off here, you know.
But it's scary to hear that, mate.
It is.
Isn't it?
It is, but then in the same sense, you sat there going, fuck off. I've had this since
my
birth.
whole life.
I could understand if I've made a tackle and my shoulders fell off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
It's like
this is something like I've had since I was born, so I didn't think And then like me being how I am going, well, I got a big impact injury to the head and it didn't burst.
Yeah.
I got knocked out, but it didn't burst. How big of the fucking impact is it going to have to be?
For you to burst it.
And then I'm like, well, if it hasn't burst for big impacts, it's going to be a big impact that will make it burst. I'd be injured anyway, so I'd know it's burst.
Yeah.
Is my argument, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how. So he sat me down in the office, mate, and just went, I can't let you play.
Not gonna lie, mate, when I've read this, I was like a text you on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I said, fucking hell, mate, like these stories, like
Yeah.
I'm excited to get you on, but I was reading it going, fuck, like I can't imagine what that's like. It's like, going back to me, it's like me going home now and someone going, you aren't working again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, in that moment, and you don't have to fucking go into the detail if you don't want to, like, what the fuck was going through your head, mate? It's someone just to go, like, you've gone from playing rugby, then the next day someone just goes, aren't you never playing again?
Yeah, like,
what was that?
I was
like?
in shock, massively in shock,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah.
Because do you know, like when you really get hurt and something really hurts, it doesn't hurt, does it? And
Yeah.
then so you look at it and you go, fucking hell, that hurts. That.
Like later on?
Yeah, it was probably a bit like that. I was back in like shell shock and disbelief. I was like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember exactly how my reaction was to him, but it was like the way he described it is, I'm lucky.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And he's like softened the blow, going, you know, you could go to work and never come home.
Right.
You know, you've got 2 kids at home. He was trying to really trying to soften the blow.
Yeah.
Which is understandable, but I'm thinking, sure, it's not right there.
Yeah.
It's not right. I was in disbelief. I didn't believe him. I think, like I said, I've had this since birth. He's told me. So why are you telling me I've got to stop playing?
Why now? Yeah.
And then everyone on the outside goes, oh, how lucky are you? How lucky are you? And I'm like, fuck off. I'm not lucky.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
It
you
depends how you
found
look at
it.
it, yeah.
You found it. You know, it could have burst. And I completely understand what they're saying, but I'm not lucky because I've just got told I'm going to sign Super League again. I'm flying to Australia on Saturday morning for the World Cup, my second World Cup.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been training the house down even though I've had this head knock because I'm trying to lose weight to stay light for the World Cup.
Yeah.
I'm sat there going, I'm not lucky. Friggin'. But, and like you said about other people ringing me saying, how you feeling? I was in shock. I never ever felt I'm in a dark hole here.
Yeah.
Instantly. I did later on, 12 months later or so, but at that moment in time, I was just in shell shock really. And like, I come out of that meeting, sat in my car, I didn't ring my dad, I didn't ring my wife, I didn't ring my agent, I rang the frigging Wales coach.
Yeah.
You know, like and apologise as if I'd done something wrong.
Yeah.
And apologise for not being able to go to the World Cup. Like that was the most important thing in my life at the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, John, like I can't come. And he's going, like, you fucking what? And I'm and I'm like, mate, I can't. Go and see another specialist was his reply. Not like don't believe him. He said, but from John Kay, if you know, if anyone knows him, he's been in rugby league probably longer than we've been alive, mate.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, any advice I get you, get a second opinion, a third opinion, a fourth opinion on this. But then when you stop and then when one person says yes, you go, oh yeah, I'm playing.
Yeah.
And then you go,
Yeah,
what about 700 people before who told you can't play? So I rang him and then I rang my dad and I was like, but because I just started this job, I had to drive back to work after that. I go to work and the boss at the time was like, oh, how'd it go? Yeah, not good, mate. You know,
mate, that is I couldn't even begin to imagine what that's like, just to kind of like, without sounding too fucking dramatic, like having your fucking life ripped away from you, basically, because it's everything
it's your
you've known,
identity.
isn't it?
That's a big one.
Yeah, it is, because when you hear about like when people retire and they fucking struggle because it's like it's all they've known.
Yeah.
But for someone to literally go, you aren't doing this,
Yeah.
like I can't even begin to imagine what that's like, mate, to be honest.
It is mad. Like,
Yeah.
like at first, I was not believing, because it is true. Listening to the people tell me, how lucky are you, this, you've got. And I was fortunate that I'd found a job about 2-3 weeks previous.
Yeah.
So I was lucky because I had work.
Yeah.
And I was like, bills can still be paid. I'm still working, you know. I'd have to do a few more hours, miss the money I'm missing out on. And luckily, because the World Cup was in Australia, it was on at after o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
There was no rugby on TV. It was the end of the season. I was sheltered out of the Rugby League bubble.
Right.
A few people rang up, you know, like State of Mind rang up and they spoke to me, but I was fine. And
Yeah.
I was like telling people, I'm okay, you know, I'm lucky, I'm okay, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And then once all that dust settles and you come 6 months or 12 months later and you're watching rugby going, freaking, I should have been playing for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Or I should have been doing that. I'm better than him.
Yeah, yeah.
I probably wasn't better than him, but
Yeah,
that's how you think.
bittered
You know,
up,
I got a little bit
mate,
bitter.
yeah.
Yeah. And jealous. I was just jealous of these lads doing what I wanted to do all my life. I was doing the season before. But yeah, so I was like that for about two years, mate.
So like, off the back of what you just said there, obviously you mentioned dark hole then. Mentally, mate, where the fuck were you? Like, because
I filled a gap.
Yeah.
So, I coached rugby because I missed the dressing room.
Did you coach like under 19s?
Yeah. So Wales Rugby League were probably the best. Couldn't do enough for me.
Yeah.
If a job application up to head coach for Wales 19s, I jumped on that straight away.
Yeah.
And got the job. I was coaching at Blackbrook. I was filling this gap because it's not just the rugby you miss. You miss the changing rooms. You miss the
crack with the lads.
The crack with the lads, yeah.
Social, yeah.
Yeah. My friends were rugby.
Yeah.
Do you know? So I'm missing. And people say you keep in touch, but how often do you actually keep in touch with people? It's hard because everyone's got their own lives. Everyone's busy. So I got to this point where probably mid 2018 where I didn't train once. I'm not the best of trainers anyway. I didn't train once. I was eating and drinking whatever I wanted when I wanted. Yeah. Because I didn't have to be awake.
Yeah.
And I was coaching Wales 19s, which I loved. I did love coaching. It kept me in the sport. I enjoyed coaching at Blackbrook because it was a little bit looser and the lads were of a similar age to me.
It was more like of a love for the game.
Yeah, that was coaching my mates. Why with Wales 19s, these are all young professional lads who still got careers ahead of him. Where I'm like,
so you've got to be on it, haven't you?
Yeah, really? And you've got to be very PC. And under 19s is a weird age. Some of them think they're men, and some of them are still babied by the parents. Yeah. So it's like that was really good for me as a coach, and really good for my development and my understanding of rugby. Because when I started coaching, I understood more about rugby than I did when I played rugby. Do you know, like, if he does this, it makes his job easier. Like when I was playing, I just did my job and I didn't think anything else, a bit selfishly. Yeah. I know my job. I don't know what your job is. I know what I do.
And that's it.
But then when I started coaching, I understood a little bit more about the importance of everyone's jobs. Yeah. But that was good. But yeah, I was in that dark hole of, like I said, I had 6 to 12 months of go on holiday whenever you want. Yeah. No, we've just been about Viggers then. Like I went on holiday with Viggers. Yeah. You know, little things like that where you can go on, oh, so what's to do this weekend? Yeah. Oh, got a wedding? Yeah. Stag do? Yeah. Yeah. Which I'd never had because rugby,
you don't have that freedom,
you can only go away in October.
Yeah.
And then you're back in pre-season in November and the season's ended in September. Yeah. You've got October to go away. If you play for internationals, you might have November. Yeah. And like it's quite regimented rugby, you know, you're in at 6 o'clock, you're leaving at 4 o'clock. Yeah. You're like, this is your, like, bang, bang, bang. And then you had this freedom and I embraced it. Yeah. Say I went away and I went, like I've always struggled with my weight, but I went up to like nearly 140 kilos in weight.
What are you now? What do you play at?
Well, it depends which team. I'm at 117 now.
Yeah, so it's a lot
heavier. But when I was at Super League, I was like under 110. Yeah. But I ended up, I think the heaviest I've seen the scales is 138. Right. And I was like, I was going up the stairs out of breath.
Yeah, like tying shoes, getting out of breath.
Yeah, and that's what I remember sitting in work once, and I was sat there, and we was on about this job. I was working in children's homes at the time, 24-hour shifts, and it was like home away from home. You could eat when you want, you could do what you want, like obviously with these kids. But you're like, oh, I'll nip the shop now and get something to eat. And this staff member come in. And said, oh, you do a lot of eating, this staff, and not me. And I went, oh, I've put five kilos on since I started working here, and I only worked here 2 months. Yeah. And she's like, you fucking what? And I was like, and then you know when you say things like, you go, that's embarrassing, that. Yeah. And like, I couldn't get clothes to fit me. I joke in the little things like, I got married and we got married abroad, and I got my outfit, and then when I tried it on in Mexico, it didn't fit me. Right. And I like my personality is like I'm the only groom in history to put weight on for his wedding, not lose it, and I like laugh and joke it off because that's my personality. But when you sit on your own, you go, fucking hell, mate, what are you doing with yourself?
Did you feel like, do you know, obviously with all that going on that you just mentioned there, do you feel like you was losing yourself? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it was like kind of like you're papering over the cracks a little bit.
Possibly,
with these
like
things.
I wasn't a big drinker in the sense I was drinking every night.
Yeah.
But I coached Blackbrook on a Saturday and I just got levered after the game, and that was probably like a mask and hiding the pain of really going, like, I've always had that discipline where I can't drink because I've got a match tomorrow. Yeah. And I probably needed to be a little bit looser because I was quite strict on myself. Yeah. But at the same sense, I probably went over the top, and my health, like, I never had any health conditions as such, like diagnosed, but I was out of breath going upstairs, and
Yeah.
little things like my kids were growing up and wanted to go play football, and I just couldn't have the drive to get off the sofa.
Like mentally, physically.
I never once went to the gym. Like a bit saying though, but then when people say why, then I go, it's like going to work.
Yeah.
If you're a plumber, and then you sat at home, someone says, "Oh, can you go and do this?" No, it's my job. I do it in my job work
I
hours.
can relate to you there because people speak to me and they're like, "Do you enjoy training?" I go, "Fucking no."
Yeah.
So I'm in work again. Do you know what I mean? So I completely get you there.
That's the way I said to people. So I went massive. People say, "Oh, you can train. Go for a run." Fuck off.
Yeah.
Like
it is literally.
I used to run because I got taught and I got paid and told to do it.
Yeah.
Now I don't need to do it. No,
it's
I'm not
like
doing
you
it.
say, it's like telling a plumber, like, "Do you want to come and fix this boiler?"
Yeah.
You're like,
for
"Fuck off."
free.
Yeah.
For free. Not for work. For free. No.
Yeah, you don't.
So that's the way I looked at it. Don't get me wrong. That's probably me like going from one extreme to the other, and I should have probably found an happy medium. But
it's difficult though,
that's
mate,
the
with
way
what you went through.
I just give up. I just give up on like didn't get my hair cut.
Yeah.
Didn't
take care of yourself.
Just didn't give a toss.
Yeah.
And my personality was like, well, if you don't like me, you don't like me. Or, you know, if you I look like this. If you don't like it, there's the door. So that was my personality. Not as blunt as that, but realistically, if you peel back this is me. And my mum and dad tried to help me, going, we'll help you. We'll pay for the gym membership. And I was like in my mid-20s, going, you don't need to fucking pay for the gym membership.
Yeah.
But like, mid-20s, like, we'll pay for your gym membership. We'll get the kids membership at David Lloyd's. We can all go together. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You're telling me, and I was like again, when I was a kid, you want me to go and don't swim?
Yeah.
You not go play rugby, I'm going to go play rugby. You want me to lose weight and train? I'll tell you to fuck off and do that. And go all you can eat Chinese.
Yeah.
There's that, that.
Yeah,
and I didn't realise until you look back again, once I come out of the bubble, and I'm looking back in it and going, fuck, what an idiot.
Well, it's the thing though, isn't it? Like when you're in the moment, they are blatantly just trying to help.
Yeah.
But it's one of them at the moment. It's quite demoralising, isn't it?
You've got to want to do it yourself.
Yeah,
and I didn't. I
Yeah.
didn't care until I got that little, I can play again.
Yeah.
Well, can I? And that's with a bit of kick up and drive that I needed.
One thing when I read one of your articles the other day, because I think this it either goes one way or the other, and you documented in one of the articles, it was like you found out there's just more to life.
Yeah.
What was that? What was that moment there where you just went, fuck me?
So when I said people were saying to me, when people come to me and go, you've got this and you've got family, you've got kids, you can watch them grow up, and people were telling me all this. Although I was understanding it and I believed I was not believed, but I get what they're saying. Once the dust had settled as such, and I could go and watch my kids play sport every Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
I could go on holiday, which was great. It is great, and I loved it. But I was listening. I was lost. Like she said, I was lost. I was like spiraling, not out of control. I was like really into my family and doing what we wanted to do when we wanted to do it, and taking the kids out for the day. Then I was like, come home, and I'm like, Nat used to say, I'm like moody bastard at home. Like I'm quite loud and when I'm in the room.
Yeah.
And that was like, it's not a false act. That is me. But then when I'm at home, I was like, should we do this? Fuck off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Do we have to?
Yeah, I felt like you lost.
Oh, we're going to go to the park for the day. So I was a little bit like this, and then when he originally retired, I was like, you know what? I can put not all my eggs into one basket, but put all my effort, all that time I was doing at rugby, into my family.
Yeah.
And we'll go to the park, we'll do this, we'll take the kids away for the weekends and stuff like that. And then rugby started again, and I dipped again.
Yeah.
And then I got that drive to go back playing again. And then I was literally like a roller coaster in that sense. So there is more to life than rugby, it's a short career.
Yeah.
And I'm 31 now. I've probably got 3-4 years max, maybe back at again.
Yeah.
And that's if I'm pushing it.
Yeah.
Which I say I am pushing it because I know what it's like to be retired.
Yeah.
But there is more to life. And that's why I think where I am now, being part-time rugby and working, and I see my kids, I've got my kids half the week. Like, there is so much more to life than rugby. But when you're full-time, that is your life.
Yeah.
So when I did drop out I went from full-time to part-time for a couple of weeks to retired. I did realise there's so much more. When you're in rugby league, you're in a bubble. But then when you step out of it, and I did see that I'm not being controlled by times and days I can go away. there was more to life, you know, and picking your kids up to school and taking them to school, little things like that were, when I was at Wakefield, I couldn't
do it.
But then when I was at Saints, I didn't do it because I was a lazy bastard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a bit of a balance, mate, on how it was.
No, of course, because you spend, obviously, being a professional athlete, mate, like, people, obviously, I don't fully understand it, and none of us do because we've never done it, but people don't realise it is your life. It's not just, do you want to go and kick a ball about for a little bit with your mates? It is literally, you treat that as your job, because it's your fucking job, it's what pays you. So you imagine when your whole focus is that, you probably do miss a lot, the taking your kids to school, the going away on holidays, these different things. So do you think you think it was like a bit of a blessing in disguise, that?
Yeah, because I went back in, last year, 2 years ago, so 2021. I could have played in 2020, but COVID hit. I went back in 21 and rugby become fun again. I was part-time. I had a career away from rugby. Rugby was fun. So I dipped my toe in the sense of I was there, but when I wasn't there, rugby was my job again, but it wasn't my life. So I still lived how I lived before I was playing rugby, but I had rugby on Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, Sundays.
Right.
And which was great, but I was that busy. I was that busy with rugby, that busy with work, and my marriage ended up breaking down because I worked mad hours. I worked mad hours because I worked 24-hour shifts. And the way when I went back to rugby, it was like I worked 24-hour shifts on a Monday, finished at dinner time on a Tuesday, went straight to Bradford. Back home Tuesday night, to bed. By the time I got home, 9 o'clock. Wednesday, back in work, 9 in the morning, 24 hours, straight to Widnes. Straight to Bradford on the Thursday. I was never anywhere. So I learned the hard way that, you know... Something's got to give. Something's got to give, and my marriage broke down. And then the last 12 months, like the whole life, done a U-turn where I've changed careers. I'm playing for a club right around the corner. And I'm like, I think right now, as it stands now, I'm probably in a perfect position for me where I should be. The
perfect balance.
I work for myself. Work for myself, so I can do little things like this. I work. Rugby's 7 minutes. It literally takes me 7 minutes to get to Widnes from my front door. So I get there for 4:30, I'm home for 7:15. And then I've married, put down by 50-50 with my kids. So I have my kids around that. It's just, as it stands now, I'm probably in the best place I've been. Probably as an adult life, since, you know what I mean? The best place I've been now for about 10-15 years, easy,
That's what I say to a lot of people, and obviously, mate, the fucking amount of like mental strength you've had and the resilience you've had to like get to this position with everything that's been thrown your way. I say to everyone, you learn your best lessons like during losses, during painful times, and like you said, there is a bit of a blessing, and people probably sit there and think, "How the fuck's it a blessing?" But it puts all the things into perspective, doesn't it? Like you've just said there, I've probably got the perfect balance because you've got your rugby, but you've got your kids, and you've got the balance now of where it's much healthier. What I love about this story in general, mate, is it's like a fucking Cinderella story because
it is.
You've gone from being down, had you fucking playing professional rugby again, like as of like 2 years ago. So what happened there? Like, what was the process there? Because obviously you're back with Widnes now, been with them
just this season.
This season that you signed with them this year. So when you went back playing professional rugby, mate, like, what was that like? What was the feeling like? Was you just on top of the world when you went back?
It was just mad. It come about as a joke. It come back as a joke. So I was coaching Wales under 19s. And I was coaching Wales under 19s, and then Wales first team was staying in the same area. So we had a game on the Saturday night. Wales trained the Saturday, Sunday, and they were flying to Australia for a tournament, Wales rugby team. And John Keir, who's the coach of Wales, who was my coach at Bradford, now at Widnes, he rang me and went, you know, the day after your game, can we play against you in a warm-up game? Bearing in mind, my lads are only teenagers, and it was only 9 aside because the tournament was a 9s tournament in Australia. And we had, I only had 8 lads. I said to John, I've only got 8 lads who wanted to stay up. So I jumped in playing. And I was fucking out of breath, so, you know, like, walking around, but I was joking, and I said I did a good pass or I did something good. I went, hey, John, I can play next year, you know, jokingly, because when I got told I couldn't play, the guy said there's like three ways you can have this operation. You can have brain operation to cut this thing out your head.
You had to be awake for that, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't have it fucking done. Radiotherapy or something like through your groin or something. But the radiotherapy takes 2 years to work. Right. So I'm going a bit off your question, but the radiotherapy I had that, and it's like coming up to 2 years.
Right.
So I said, so when I have this, so it shrinks it. So then when that goes, I've got a normal brain as such.
Right.
So I was going, I can fucking play in April, John. I can play in April, and this was like the October, November. And then when he come back from Australia, he rang me and went, "Can you really play in April?" And I said, "As long as
it's October 21.
it would have been 20.
20, right.
been
Oh, yeah,
19.
because of COVID.
Would have been 19. No, it would have been 19. Yeah, because COVID was 20, wasn't it?
2020,
It would have been 19. So it would have been 2 years since I had the surgery in 2017. So 2019, I had the surgery in 18, but 2019, I was like, yeah, I can play, John, in 2020.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I can play. And he rang me, seriously, Ant, can you play? And I went, if the scan says it's gone, I can play. If it's still there, I can't. He went, come pre-season in November at Bradford.
Yeah.
So I was going to Bradford for free, training. And Bradford were amazing. Now, they said this. I had my operation in the May, so the May of the 18, so the May of the 9, May of the 20. The NHS would have rescanned me.
Right.
I could have played. Come the January, February, I went, I'm paying for a scan early.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah, you paid to go private, didn't you?
Yeah, I paid to go private for the scan, and then I took it to Bradford, and Bradford took it to a specialist. Bradford paid for the specialist, I paid for the scan. Bradford were fantastic in that sense. So I did all pre-season with them. That's when I found out I was 138 kilos. I did all pre-season with them.
Good and bad.
Yeah. And then we took me for this scan, and it come back with nothing on my brain. And so the Rugby League said I had to. Long story, but the Rugby League said I had to get an independent specialist who I haven't worked with before to say it was okay.
Yeah.
Because I'd have said the specialist who retired me would have said, no, you can't play. Because obviously they're safety first, aren't they? If he says I can play and something happened, it's effectively on his head.
Yeah, it's his decision that's caused it, isn't it?
So he said, find someone independent, and I found someone. This guy said, yeah, like, nothing on your brain, I'd let you play. So I give that to the Rugby League, and they had to sign a waiver to say,
if this happens, X, Y, and Z.
I'm not insured if my brain pops. Scientific term. Yeah, I'm not insured. And the club was happy with that, the Rugby League was happy with that, and I was. Obviously COVID hit. So going back to the story of Cinderella story and going back to playing, it was just a big cycle. So I was playing all pre-season with this what if, buts, and maybes if I can play. Got this all clear. Fucking COVID shut the sport down for 12 months. So. And then I was quite savvy with that. Everyone was pissed off, I was thinking, this is my time to. Everyone's not playing for 12 months.
Time to put the work in now.
I'll put the work in, and then I've not played for 4 years, but they've not played for 1, so we're all on the level playing field.
Yeah.
So you've
got momentum as well.
My 138 kilos probably got down to about 125 at the time, and I was like, if I get under 120, come pre-season 2021, I'm at the same boat as everybody else, and that's what I did. I worked hard and stuff like that. I still had a balance because obviously I went back to being part-time rugby, but then no rugby at all, so I was back home again loads. So I had to have that willpower of training, but luckily during COVID it was sunny weather, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nice.
So I could still do a bit. So I did that, and then I got my first game in pre-season 2021, and it was like...
Yeah.
I was fish out of water. The game had changed so much since I played. It was so fast.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was fast because I was still massively overweight to what I was last played or what.
You was probably at like a high standard as well.
Yeah.
And then just because it's dropped a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, but it's like I'd never been away at the same sense. I felt home again. Yeah. Felt my belongings again,
Had your identity again.
Yeah. And I had a big year that year. I was like, going for the World Cup. I'm going for the World Cup.
How did that feel? I was going to get onto that question, but you brought it up. Obviously, playing for your country is must be one of the fucking best feelings in the world. You've gone from the lowest of low, where you've got to go to the World Cup and then that gets snatched away. How does it feel, mate, 4 or 5 years later, where you fucking go? I bet you that was one of the best feelings. That's
my highlight of rugby, that.
Is it? I can imagine.
Your debuts, or you scoring your first try, or winning a big game, or winning a competition. My highlight is that full circle.
So do you know before, when we was on about your professional debut, did you know how fucking big that was for Wales when it happened?
No, so my first game for Wales 2013, it was again progression, stepping stones, but then coming away, my red letter day as such, a red ring round a circle, was that World Cup.
Right.
And when I went back playing, I went back off my own terms, and if I was shit, I'd have gone, I've tried, I'm shit.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that shit. I was all right. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm fucking playing for Wales again.
Yeah.
And that was my goal. So that World Cup was like, I'm content now.
Yeah.
I'm content with everything that happens now. So I was like, get to that World Cup. And I got to the World Cup last year, and it was like that. Don't get me wrong, I half knew it was in because the coach of Wales, my coach at Bradford.
Yeah.
And he moved to Widnes.
And he's close to you, isn't he?
And he's gone to Widnes and who signs for Widnes? Me. So I half knew I was in, but you don't want to take anything for granted.
No, you don't.
You know what I mean? So I got in and I was just like, fuck me, this is good again. And obviously we played at Saints against Tonga. And I've gone from like playing at Saints to playing at Bradford, and you get a couple of thousand watching, to a big crowd again at Saints against Tonga, to playing against the best players in the world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's lads in that team on 1.2 million a year, and I'm packing down the scrum against them saying, any use on site tomorrow? do, you know what I mean? They're having a swim and I'm going back fucking labouring tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the highlight of my career. Not one specific moment, just that last month in that
experience.
World Cup, in that month in November in the World Cup. That was me going, I'm content now.
Yeah.
That was my goal. I've got back.
Yeah.
But then you get greedy then, don't you? So I've finished that and I go, right, I've got another World Cup in a few years. That's my next goal.
Yeah.
Because I love playing for Wales.
Yeah.
You know, like you asked off how I'm a Welsh through my grandparents, but that Wales group for me, I was never good enough to play for England, you know. So that Wales for me is like a highlight of my. Every year we have a competition for Wales, and that's what I go for every year because I love it.
That is such a mate. That story. If people are listening to this, honestly, how you can come from so many fucking lows to do that, mate. That is one of the best. That's why I've been so excited to get you on.
And one of the best things, though,
so
mate,
fucking good, mate.
Like one of the best things about playing for that Wales team, it's not me playing. I coached some of those Welsh lads in the under-19s.
Yeah.
So I was the coach in the under-19s, and now playing for them. And then one of them was playing for Leeds last night on TV.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, fucking, I've coached him 3 years ago.
You've played a small.
I feel, you know, that's that probably maturity in me now being 31. Going, I've helped these lads. Do you know what I mean? And that's like a highlight of me. Like, I put time and effort into him, and look how he's doing. He played for Wales, and I was playing at Leeds. You know, little things like that. They're massive for me. Little things like that.
I can imagine, mate. I can imagine, because it's one of them where, especially where you've had so long out the sport, and it's like, am I coming back? Am I not coming back? And then all of a sudden, you're in front of fucking thousands of people playing against the best players. Yeah. It must be a surreal feeling.
So that's me. That's why I'm gonna. People take the piss saying, "Surely you're finishing again soon," and I'm going. A few of my mates from my age now are younger than me, retiring. I go, mate, make sure you're ready to retire.
Yeah.
Do you know,
like, leave it all out there.
Like, I understand if your body's breaking down and you physically can't run. You know what I mean? Your knees are knackered.
Yeah.
But if you're just retiring because I'm sick of it, just be careful.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, when I next retire, I'll retire when I'm ready to retire. Where I'm struggling for, keep up with the lads, run, train. That's when I'll retire again.
Yeah.
Like, as long as the body's good. And the way I say it is, I'm 4 years younger than what I actually am. I've had 4 years out the sport, so I'm 27 really.
Yeah.
do you know like in rugby terms?
I get what you're
that's the way
saying.
I look at it. Yeah.
But mate, honestly, just to recap everything, this has been such a fucking good story, and I appreciate you coming on telling it, because as we said before off camera, you've never sat down and just gone through it all. So
I probably missed out more than I've said. It's that much. Do you know what I mean? But and I probably spoke a bit fast and glossed over stuff where people are going.
Mate, honestly, you've smashed it.
I've
enjoyed sitting here and just letting you fucking crack on. It's been such a good story, mate. But listen, absolutely smashed it. Loved having you on. Fucking hell, just best of luck going forward.
Nice,
I appreciate you taking the time to do it anyway.